The top performers are proudly sponsored by Warrington Wolves Supporters Trust Squad Builder. Here are the top performers from round number 13 of the Betfred Super League. The most tries scored was a brilliant hat-trick from Jacob Douglas of the Wiggy Warriors. The most try assists came at the HJ Stadium, Matt Duffy, he got 3. Whilst the top meter maker was Jacob Douglas once again, 257 for the Warriors. The most tackle bust came from Herman SA in Perpignan with 10. Whilst the most clean breaks is once more Jacob Douglas with 5 for Wigan. The most hard meters made was by Paul Vaughan of the Warrington Wolves, 137. Whilst the most tackles came from Matty Lees at Craven Park with 67 for St Helens. And finally, the most goal kicks of round 13 was once more Adam Kieran of the Wiggy Warriors, 7 from 8. These are the top performers from round number 13. This production comes to you in association with the Bluebell Warrington. Situated in an 18th century building in the town centre and just a 5-minute walk from the HJ Stadium, the Bluebell is the perfect destination for pre- and post-game food and drink. The 2024 Warrington Pub of the Year is now the official home of Super League Raw on Warrington Wolves match days for both home and away supporters. Super League Raw are delighted to have agreed a members-only area, allowing our community to come together to discuss rugby league pre- and post-match. So set your course to the Bluebell Warrington on match days and beyond. You are sure to be greeted with a warm welcome and a cold beer. Super League Raw and the Bluebell, the perfect partnership in enhancing your match day experience. So good evening and welcome to Super League Raw Weekly. It wouldn't be the same week, would it, without a bit of weekly? As you can see, no Steph tonight. He's absolutely snowed under. He sends his apologies. Nobody worry about him. It's just a lot of work on at the moment, Mr. Sale. I don't know where Joel's gone. He's legged it. He's back. But yeah, Steph will be back next week. He should be back as well for the Final Whistle podcast for the Challenge Cup final. That's right. We will be getting together with Hull KR and Warrington fans this Thursday evening to do a special Final Whistle podcast before the first whistle has gone. And that will be available for you for your trip down to Wembley, UKR and Warrington fans. It should be a really good bit of banter that. Looking forward to it. Greg, a year has passed since the passing of the great late Mr. Rob Burrow. Unbelievable, since it was a year since we did our tribute show, mate.
It is. Time's absolutely flying by, mate. Yeah, it was highlighted on the news the other day that the the Rob Borough Centre in Leeds is coming along nicely now, and Kevin Sinfield's getting ready to do some more fundraising stuff. So, he's been gone a year, but the memory lives on, and the fundraising still lives on to try and get a cure for this horrible, horrible disease.
Absolutely, all the early risers this evening in the chat, enjoying seeing Rob on the credits, the titles tonight, and they, of course, sending their deepest respects to Rob up in the sky. So I'm sure he's tuned in to Super League Raw Weekly. Why wouldn't he be on a Tuesday? What do you say, Joel?
It's a real sad day. It's a real sad time because I know leading up to the anniversary, I was watching some of his clips of his best moments. And I don't think there's a YouTube video long enough to really show all of his best bits because it was so great. And I kind of think, it's just so sad that he contracted this horrible disease because, he had so many more years of wonderful rugby in him. And even before M&D became a thing, he was so loved and respected by so many people. He could and would have done most certainly the great things within rugby league. And it's one of the greats that we've really lost. But it's so beautiful how the whole community's come together, the rugby league family, and celebrated his life, not mourned his death.
Spot on, mate. Absolutely. And what a life it was. Incredible human being. We will continue to remember Rob here on Super League Raw. If anybody's watching on Facebook, please go over to YouTube. It helps us to grow the channel. We would really appreciate it. You won't miss a thing. Please do that. And at the bottom there, you can see Action for Alfie, just short now at £2,500, £5 short. Of course, a couple of donations during Watch Along Live this weekend. Great effort that from Simo and from Mark. Mark donating the amount of points that Leeds scored, and Simo the amount of points that Wakey scored, an extra 40 quid into the coffers. And of course, Steph's that busy. More is going to be on the way very, very shortly to the Sales family. If you don't know about little Alfie, he's a lovely young man. He's got a rare form of muscular dystrophy. He's joining us at the Challenge Cup final. There's going to be lots of pictures of Alfie in the titles next week, and we make no apologies for that. And if you would like to give that little man and his family some memories that will last a lifetime, please donate. The donate QR code is there on the screen. If you click on that, you'll be able, and obviously in the titles as well, somebody's already done it, fantastic. In the titles as well, and on the podcast, we've actually put a link to the GoFundMe page. So have a little read up on Alfie. I'm sure you'll see what a tremendous young man he is, and you will want to make sure that he gets as many things on his wish list completed. Family and for him to enjoy. So there you go. That's Action for Alfie. Right, we've got lots to get through as always. There's a small matter of something going on at Wembley as well. We've got lots to get through this evening, but of course we only start one way here on Super League Raw. Banging or hanging?
This is what would Oliver say at Super League Raw. So this week I'm thinking about, are referees relying on the video refs too much? At the weekend, I saw a lot of tries that should have been given straight away, but they sent it upstairs. I think that the referees just need to go on their first instinct rather than having to double check every decision they make. What do you think, Super League Raw? Oh, and just one more thing. Come on, you Robins!
Oh, I love that boy.
I liked him a lot more before he did that.
Good on you, Ollie, lad. You get kissing your badge, son. Hopefully we'll bump into you at Wembley. What a top man. So there you go. That's what Ollie's had to say this weekend. Joel, start with you. Should the referees back themselves more? Should they be given the obvious tries as a try straight off the bat?
Yes, they should. They're paid a salary for doing what they do. They, as you're very, I don't know if anybody, I know a lot of people have seen it, but for those that haven't, if you get a chance to go back and have a look at the in conversation with Aaron Moore, he explains quite detailed what they go through as referees throughout the week and the processes and the detail that they go into. They are more than qualified to be able to give certain decisions. Yes, I think Ollie is very right that they are relying too heavily on the cameras. The cameras are a great asset and thing that we have there for the game, but I think they need to be used in the right place because it used to, back in the day when it went up to the video ref, there was more drama, there was more intensity about it because it wasn't used as much. So when it went up to the video ref, it was a bit of a, oh, they're going to the video ref, this is exciting. Now it's more of a, you're just kind of expecting it. It's more of a wow moment when they don't. So, yeah, I think really they need to be kind of just allowing themselves to make them decisions, take ownership of it, because that's part of their values. If you want to take ownership of your job, then, if you get it wrong, you get it wrong, but back yourself.
Yeah, I think you've got to back yourself. Greg, again, some very obvious tries going up for silly reasons again at the weekend.
Yeah.
We need to speed the game up. This has to happen, and the refs have to take a bit of responsibility. They've got to go with the gut at times. If the cameras weren't there, they'd be giving these tries, wouldn't they?
They would. I agree totally with Joel. We're getting a situation now, not to repeat what Joel was saying, but we're getting a situation now where a game's being refereed 2-3 times. We've got the referee going up to the screen for a try or no try. Then we've got a player going down injured and the video ref looking at the incident leading up to it. And then we've got the disciplinary panel afterwards adjudicating as well. The game's being refereed more than once. And you can't have that in sport. The referee's paid. And these are professional referees now. Don't forget that these are professional. They're not part-timers anymore. They are paid a wage to do a job in the middle.
Yeah.
So, as Joel said, back yourself. Have the courage to go with your convictions. Before the video ref came in, before technology came in, they had to do that. And they were part-time in those days. They weren't full-time referees.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think I think it's an over-reliance now on video technology. Back yourselves, refs. Come on. You're paid to do a job. Let's get it done.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think it's got to the stage now where if you make a mistake, we'll let it go. We'll let it ride, because at least you've had the guts to make a decision.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think all fans, would. I mean, look, it's a fine line. They then make a decision and they get it wrong. But anyway, we're going to come on to that in a minute. I mean, Craig, I see there, Tom Master saying in the chat, Lachlan Walmsley try going up was ridiculous. Craig Forth, good evening, Craig. John Wilkin let slip on the bench that smart meters sponsor the refs, and maybe there's something in it. Speaking of John Wilkin, let's go straight there. He was very vocal indeed. He said, get rid of it. Get rid of the video referee. He went as far as to say it's adding nothing to the sport. It's just detracting. Which is taking Ollie's sentiment a little bit further. Joel, would you agree with John Wilkin on that one?
Disagree completely. We do need it. If we don't have it, we're going backwards.
Fair enough. That was short and sweet. Well done, Joel. Greg, your take?
Was this some Tellen's try that was disallowed that he was going on about mayhaps?
Well, in fairness, if we're going to go there, that Lewis Murphy try was a try.
Well, whether it was or it wasn't, I think
the
thing here is what most rugby league fans are unanimous in now is, yes, I agree with Joel 100%. Keep the video ref, but we don't want try, no try. Let the video referee send it up and let him make a decision. Don't do it, because as soon as he does the try or the no try, pointless, because his mate in the box is going to agree with him 99.9% of the time. So just send it up. In the old days, I was watching a rerun of some games from 2012. I wonder what games they were today. And the referee just sends it up to the video ref. No indication of a try, no try. Get rid of that. I think also, it was a strange one this weekend because Liam Moore on Thursday night, I think his car must have been on a meter because he was making decisions within one or two shots of the video of the script of being shown the incident. And yet over the weekend, we had endless shots of tries being scored or no tries, and referees taking the time. Ben Thaler's a particular one for taking his time to make a decision. But get rid of the try, no try. Maybe somebody's just said Alex Sharp. Is it Alex just Sharp in the chat has just said, bring in an Aussie style bunker.
Well, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people saying that in the chat. We've talked about this quite a few times on the show in the past, but I think it was quite interesting this week that John Wilkin really did go very, very strong to get rid of it. And like I say, for me, the Lewis Murphy try was a try that made very little difference to the actual overall result at Craven Park. But I agree with John Wilkin. If we're going to have a video ref, at the very least, they've got to get it right. They've got to get it right.
100%. Yes.
It was silly. Oliver, of course, the man who asked the question earlier, he's back in the chat. We shouldn't get rid of it full stop, but we just keep it for tries that could be overturned. Exactly. That's the bunker system. I think all of us would like it. Brian Carney said that, of course, to John Wilkin. And of course, then the conversation went to money and the amount of money that they've got. But again, mate, I think we all say, Ollie himself said it. Ollie could have made the decisions quicker. And I don't think he probably could. So, I think Liam Moore showed the way. It doesn't have to be as onerous as sometimes it is. And, that one will rumble on. Right, okay. So, very, very quickly, hanging or banging the video ref, Joel?
It's hanging for what he's saying. But we need,
But we need it.
It's a banging idea. It's sometimes hanging the way it's carried out.
Fantastic. Nothing like sitting on that fence, boys. Well done. Right, let's move on to the next one. Oh, what a game. What a game. Queensland 6, New South Wales 18. Some numpty, I don't know who it was, but somebody online said it was just an average game of rugby league. I don't know what he was watching. Unbelievable. Joel, I mean, some of those tries, I mean, the New South Wales tries, I mean, the hands, the speed of passing on the left edge for New South Wales in that game. I mean, that's not an average game of rugby league. That's as it's just different level, mate, isn't
it? It certainly is. And there's a lot of English players, even players that don't watch or appreciate what goes on at the Origin. And like you said, the speed that they play at, I think a lot of our clubs could do with trying to emulate some of that, because that is what makes you gripped as a fan. It's edge of the seat stuff, and you've got no idea when the next try is coming, because you notice, don't you? Defensive shows, they're there, but then it's not prevalent because the attacking flair is so high. They'll throw the ball around with zero cares in the world because they just have each other's backs. Yeah. They know what they're going to do, and they know what they can do. And you see that some of the passes they fire at them. Oh, you think if I was going to catch that, I'd drop it straight away. It's bullet speed, and I think it's just one of the best games in the world that's ever been made. It's just fantastic, and for people to call it bang average, clearly don't know about rugby league.
No, by all accounts, we don't. Listening to some of the Facebook comments we've had this week. But anyway, that's another story. We'll just leave that one parked up for a moment. Greg, I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, one thing's for certain, looking at the quality of the players on show in Origin, the Ashes series, we're going to see some real talent come over for the Ashes series. But I was really, I mean, Queensland don't go away. I mean, you've got to give Queensland a lot of credit. They didn't go away. They kept plugging away, which is very, very Queensland-esque. But that New South Wales team, it is just littered with class, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it is. It's a wonderful, wonderful team. And they've been building it slowly over the last few seasons, the last few years. What can you say about New South Wales, about the players they've got in that side? That team alone could make up the Aussies in that squad could make up the Aussie first team itself.
Yeah.
I mean, as for an average game, maybe it didn't have the blood and thunder of past games, but it certainly wasn't average. It was a highly skilled show of handling defense and attack. Yeah. And as Joel said, just as he disappears, our clubs could do well to follow that lead.
Absolutely. He just does that. He likes to play a game of hide and seek, does our Joel. He's a good lad. Everybody in the chat is saying, it's just, that's far from average. Yes. Dawn Kirkby, good evening to you, Dawn. Payne Haas was awesome. Looking forward to spending time with the awesome Dawn Kirkby at the Challenge on Saturday.
Stephen Crichton is just... He's on another level, Stephen Crichton. He's one of my favourite players.
Class, mate.
Absolutely awesome.
Absolute class, mate. And, speaking of a couple of people talking about the Ashes, we mentioned the Ashes. We're going to be giving tickets away to the Everton game. You can't get tickets for the Everton game. We're going to be giving them away to our members, just the members. We only give tickets to our members. The members, they are on the way. So if you haven't got your tickets for the Everton game, if you missed out, well, you could be putting your hand up for some tickets for that Everton game later in the year. More details on that to follow in the next few weeks. But yeah, again, Super League Raw membership just keeps getting better. If you're not a member and you're watching this tonight, do that QR code. Go and have a look at our memberships. Come and support the fastest growing community. You'll never regret it. And great prizes are still on the way for our members, of course, as we go through the season. Right, okay, let's stay in Australia. Mal Meninga set for the Perth Bears job. A lot of reports down under, not confirmed yet, but it would appear they're going to go with Big Mal for the Perth Bears. What do you make of that appointment, Joel?
Great for them, but I don't like it. I don't like it. He has to be the Australia coach till he dies, I think, for me. That's just who he is.
Oh, I don't know where Joel's gone. He's gone.
Sorry, just some noise in the background. Yeah, it's great for them. He's an incredible coach, one of the best that's ever been. But yeah, it doesn't sit right with me. It's like watching the Blues play for the Maroons. It doesn't happen.
No. Just going back to that, Dawn Baker, good evening to Dawn, another member here at Super League Raw. She was delighted that Dylan Edwards got the nod over Tedesco. So was I. I think Dylan Edwards is a class player. He really is a class player indeed. Greg Roach there says, hoping to do a combined watch along in Super League Raw end of season do on the 25th of October plus a curry. Yes, that's another thing that we're doing. We are going to be meeting up for the first test, the Wembley one. If you're there, of course, the Super League Raw community will meet at Wembley. If you're not there, we're all going to Manchester. We're going to watch it together, and then we're going to have a curry. So that'll be that's something else that's in the pipeline as well. Greg, Mal Meninga?
Interesting one. Obviously, it'd be a fresh challenge for Mal. He's a legend of the game. I'm more interested.
By all accounts, Dion Cross is as good as Mal Meninga, supposedly. If you remember, our Everton friend, our Saints fan on Give Your Head a Wobble, said that Dion Cross is as good as Mal Meninga and the likes of Jamie Lyons. Just thought I'd bring that back up again. Let's not forget that he's in the shadow of Dion. Carry on.
We're all in the shadow of Dion. I'm in the shadow of Celine Dion.
Think twice before you say that, sir. Come on, carry on.
But what was I saying? He's a legend of the game. It'd be a great coup for Perth. I'm more interested who's going to be his kind of assistants there. There's still that rumour of Sam Burgess won't go away, that he's going to be his assistant. So, yeah, he's synonymous with Australia. He may fancy a fresh challenge after the Ashes and not the World Cup, as I said last week. So, let's see what happens. I
must admit, his performances for Saints are all coming back to me. Anyway, that's bad. It's bad. We're all going to go there.
His heart will go on in St Helens.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. I'll tell you what, he'll have to drive all night as well to get to Perth. But anyway, that's another story. We move on. Here we go. Let's go to Brad Harper. So now, with that news that Mal Meninga potentially is going to get that Perth job, that shuts the door for the time being for Brad Harper. There it is. Greg, I'll start with you just for a bit of a change. Will he stay or will he go? What will happen with Brad Harper? Does he stay at Leeds or does he go?
Oh, I think he stays until the job that he wants comes up in Australia and then in the NRL. I think he does stay. I think he's done a great job at Leeds. I think he may well feel that he has a job to finish at Leeds. He has turned them around. They're doing really well this season. He's given them an identity. And I think he may well feel, I don't want to put, I can't speak for him as much as Leeds fans or the man himself. But I think he may well feel that he now has a job to see through before he goes looking for a roll back down under.
Yeah, more than likely. Very, very possible. Joel, what do you think? Brad Harper, will he extend for another year maybe? I mean, obviously, the thing is, Perth don't come along until 27 anyway. So, next year was always a question mark. Do you see Brad Harper staying for an extra year, 2026?
Well, you'd imagine so. With all this daft news of Big Mal going to Perth, Brad could be next Kangaroos coach. So if we're talking stupid, let's talk stupid. But yeah, I think he's going to be there next year. I don't see why not. It's been a big move for him to come to Leeds and take on such a job, and he's clearly doing a very good one. And I imagine that Gary Etherington will really look after him, seeing as he's putting Leeds into a position where they're accustomed to over the years. But yeah, moving on further into the years, I don't know. Possible extension, but if it was, it'd be for like another year just to see how he goes, to make sure he's not another Rowan Smith. So yeah, interesting.
Well, you saying something stupid. I'm just happy that you're spending an evening with me, sir. Anyway, but that's bad about I'm here all week. Ryan Hall, boys. Before we move on from Leeds, Ryan Hall has signed. That's it. Take a gulp there, Joe. Ryan Hall signed for an extra year. Of course, the draw of Vegas, maybe. Again, we talk about legends of the modern era. Ryan Hall is absolutely that. And Greg is still doing his thing. Don't think he should have been in this week's Team of the Week, the Super League pick. But hey, hey ho.
Did he score perchance?
No, he didn't. It was crazy pick. But anyway, Ryan Hall, mate, a great pro, still got life in his legs. And I think actually, if he wants to go around again, I've seen enough this season to suggest he can. Yeah,
I've no doubt whatsoever, barring injury, that he can't go for at least another season. He's an athlete. First and foremost, the guy's an athlete. He's as strong as an ox. He's built like a prop forward. He's got the speed of a winger. There's no reason why he can't go on and keep scoring tries deep into next season. And who knows, maybe beyond. Maybe if he feels fit enough, if his body's not telling him different things, why can't he go on for another season at the end of this one?
Well, maybe. Joel, I'm sure you agree. Ole, he's one of them, isn't it, that he's earned the right to decide when he retires, and he could still do a job.
If he's playing like he's playing, then yeah, you're right. He has every reason to have his say on when he finishes. I think it's more of, does the body go first or does the mind go? And clearly neither of them are of the focus at the moment for him. He seems to be just as physically fit as he is mentally fit. So yeah, why not? Let's enjoy him for another year.
Let's say a big hello to Deb Hasty. Actually, it's Hasty. No, it's not. Is it Hasty? Hasty? I get this wrong every week.
I think it's Hasty, isn't it?
I think
as in tasty.
As in hasty. Yeah, Deb Hasty. 38 winger, not many can claim that. Yeah, she's right. You've got to give Ryan his due. And he's been down under as well. I mean, imagine if he had not gone down under how many tries he'd have scored in Super League. Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's change focus. Let's now consider Sam Burgess. I mean, he was always staying anyway for 2026. Rumours that he might go to Perth as the assistant to Malmaning. I don't know if he would do that, actually. I think that might have left a little sour taste in his mouth for not getting the head coach's job there. And there'd be a massive queue of clubs wanting him as an assistant coach in the NRL. So the same question: will he stay? Will he go? He seems very happy. Could this lead to an extra year at Warrington for 2027? Joel, I'll let you kick off because you're not a Warrington fan.
Yeah, I think with Sam, I think if he was to go be an assistant, he's just taking a step back again.
Yeah, I agree.
A step forward. He's being a head coach, whether it's Super League or NRL. So if he's got a definite NRL job lined up and someone big wants him, then yeah, okay, you can understand it because that's another step again under his notch and he's gone up the ladder again. But for now, I think it's a bit early for him to be looking at going elsewhere. He needs to be known as someone who's got some loyalty behind him. And I know money is usually the biggest loyalty, isn't it? But he needs to stake his claim for a few years. And even though he's had a good season, he's had a good season last season. He's not had the best of seasons so far. And I know that he's been playing with injuries and so on and so forth. And this is why I think he needs a bit more time to prove himself. He needs to stamp his authority on the team for a good few years.
I think he needs a better transfer window than he had last year. I think there's no doubt about that. But, yet again there, Joel, talking about steps going forward, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. Nothing like a bit of Paula Abdul on a Tuesday night, Greg, is what I would say. Anyway, and just like me and Greg, opposites do attract. Go on, Greg, you talk about Sam Burgess. Carry on, sir.
How can I follow that? I think he's got to prove himself. Still got to prove himself yet, as Joel said. He had a great season at Warrington. He turned them around. Paul Vaughan's been talking in the press this week about how he is a leader. He's a great leader. He knows how to talk to players, how to deal with players. So that's good coming from Paul Vaughan. We've not had a great season this season so far. Again, some injuries, some lack of form from some players, other issues off the field. I think he needs a little bit more to prove himself, as Joel says. And I think he will probably hang around if the club wants him to hang around until he has proven himself and then put himself in that shop window again.
Good point made by Alex Sharp. Back-to-back Challenge Cup finals. I mean, when you consider there's a lot of coaches in Super League that haven't gone to back-to-back finals.
Yeah, but we need to win.
Well, of course he does.
We need to win. Yeah,
of course he does. But again, it's still, there's only a couple of trophies going every year. He's gone to back-to-back finals. I mean, some would argue this year, probably, he's had to do it tough this year. But we'll get to
remember Steve Price got back-to-back finals as well.
I'm sure we'll go there. I'm sure we'll go
there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not disagreeing with that. And I know, and this is why I said he's done well. But the last thing he needs right now is people doubting him in any way, shape, or form, and that's what's happened a little bit this year. There's been doubts there, not by us, but some people have, he needs to have them consistent seasons where he's not being doubted, where he's been viewed as being up there as one of the best.
Completely agree, mate. Got no, he needs some silverware. There's no doubt about that to really command a job down in the NRL, and that, of course, is the spectre for Hull KR because if Willie Peters starts to win trophies, unlike Matt Pete, who's English and he's contracted for the stupid 7-year contract, whatever that was that he gave to him, which could be a masterstroke if things turn sour, might not be. But Willie Peters, it's a different kettle of fish. He starts winning, of course, he could go back home and he could command a top job over there. Right, let's pay tribute to Sir Kevin. He has announced 7 in 7. He's back this autumn. Just sum up Kevin Sinfield in a sentence, Joe.
Probably one of the best friends you could probably ever ask for, and a brother that you didn't know you needed.
Oh, hey, poignant. Love it. Greg?
I can't beat that. A legend. He'd run through brick walls for you, I think, if he was on your team. And he'll run through brick walls for his friends, as Joel has said. So, there is no praise high enough for that man, as far as I'm concerned.
No, absolutely. And for those people who believe in higher beings, an angel walks amongst us, ladies and gentlemen. That is Kevin
God
Sinfield.
Walks amongst us.
Well, I wouldn't go as far as that. That could upset people, but certainly an angel.
The deities are available, people.
Absolutely. But yeah, a machine, says Craig Forth. Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Right, we move on. Let's carry on. And it's, oh, dearie me, unbelievable. Oh, that shouldn't be on the screen. Oh, dear. We're coming to that later. Quickly, don't look at that. Don't look at that. We've got to save that for later. Don't look at it. We'll come back to it later. Bad news. Bad news for Saints. This really is announced today. Jack Wellsby out for 16 weeks. Lewis Murphy out for 8 weeks. Before we get to Jack, I think this probably solves, not solves a problem because we were going to drop Murphy anyway, but this makes it a lot easier on Paul Wellens when Felt comes back because, I think he'd have upset Mr. Murphy if he'd have dropped him, wouldn't he, Joe?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think why bring him over from down under to not play him? You just don't do it. He's a big talent. Is Lewis, and he was touted by many a club. So yeah, if that would have been the case, he'll just be getting a contract somewhere else because he's that good of a player.
Absolutely. Let's go to Wellsby, Greg. It's been a poor season by St. Helens high standards, and we get that. St. Helens are a side that expect both internally in the club and externally as supporters to be challenging for trophies. Hasn't worked out that way this season. Didn't work out that way last season. Wellsby, for me, and a St. Helens without Wellsby, does this put playoff rugby league in danger for Saints? Because it's a proud record they've got. They've always been in the playoffs.
It is.
Is that under threat? We know Jack Wellsby for 16 weeks. Is he that important?
He's an important player. He's a very, very. He's an integral cog in that wheel at St. Helens. Yes. Maybe it also solves another problem. Maybe putting Robertson in there at fullback. He's come back from injury. So there are a couple of problems with Felt and with Robertson that maybe has done Wellens a favour here. Will it cost them a top 6 place? Oh, it's a difficult one. It depends how well Robertson, if he does decide to play Robertson at fullback, how well he fits into that role. He could also put Sailor back there at fullback.
Can't do that. He can't do that.
Yeah, well, it's a choice that he's got.
I think Robertson's a shout at the fact that they've got Dion Cross. So they've got Cross and Percival in the centres. Yeah. I think Robertson probably is the man. Joel, would you agree with Greg? Robertson as perhaps the solution at fullback?
He is, but I don't know if it's going to be the answer to being in the top 6. I think having Wellesby out, because you've got to remember that Saints had kind of built a team around the likes of your Wellesbys and your Lomaxes and your Dodds at the time. They had that spine in place and they were doing so well because they kept such a good spine. With Wellesby out, you've got a potential half not playing if they needed, and you've got a definite fullback not playing that was needed. Now, Robertson, great player that can do a job, but when it comes to the crunch games and say you are in the top 6, are you going to be knocked out straight away because the pressure's too much? And because, as we all know, when the playoffs happen, it's a different game. We no longer play a defensive game of rugby. We play more like NRL. It's more attacking because you're going to win. Yeah. So I think having Wellesby out is a major blow, but then having Murphy out as well as Wellesby, you're really struggling now because Sailor is far better on the wing. We know that. We've seen that very clear as day. If he then is put back to fullback, we all know that's the worst decision possible. That means Robertson's not playing hardly because I don't really see him playing any other position other than fullback.
Yeah.
He may do a job somewhere else, but from what we've seen, he's a fullback, and that's where he should be. And then it keeps Sailor at the wing, and then you've got a chance. But to put trust in a young man that's not had the massive amounts of experience that Wellesby's now had becomes a bit of a conundrum, and it could be a master stroke from Williams if he puts him in there.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. Didn't Robertson come in for Wellesby at fullback last season?
He did, and also
he did all right.
Well, let's also not forget one of the breakout players of 2025 is Aspiro Bichet of the Catalan Dragons, and he's doing all right at fullback. Probably one of the few Catalan Dragon players that come out with any credit.
Well, as Baz has said in the chat, Sailor was fullback at Brisbane, so he's had experience there.
He has. Anyway, there you go. That is a brilliant edition of Hanging or Banging. We've still got plenty to get through, but anyway, we said last week that, in the sheds was causing me a problem. It was causing me a big problem, but we found the solution. We found the solution this week. We did the all new In the Sheds, one show only, not 6 different ones. It cuts down on the work, but you still get all the joy of In the Sheds. And if you've not discovered In the Sheds yet, so welcome to the brand new In the Sheds here at Super League Raw, and let's get straight underway with round number 13 of Super League. Yes, it was at the John Smith Stadium, and what a game it was. If this was a dessert, oh yes, give me an extra bowl of custard and a very large spoon. Wonderful game. I mean, a brilliant start for the Warrington Wolves on both edges. The two Fulish brothers going over in this one. But hey, let's go to the Jake Fulish try, shall we? And if Einstein's brain was confiscated for medical science, Aaron Lindop, watch out for your hands, mate. Beautiful hands from Aaron Lindop. Oh, the catch and pass was worth the entrance money alone. Absolutely sensational. All of you, if you want to sell your hand cream by the bucket loads, get Aaron Lindop on your adverts. Outstanding. Full KR. They are a glorious, glorious team to watch, and their tries were superb. Some wonderful fast hands on the edges. The Broadbent try, the Hickey try. Mikey Lewis dancing and weaving. He's effective as my mum used to be when I was a kid, when she was knitting me jumpers. Absolutely unbelievable. I mean, you talk about Broadbent, 2 tries on the night. He's as versatile as an avocado slicer. An incredible performance once again from Broadbent. He'll be at Wembley at fullback. An emotional Henley Stadium, but if ever there was a game befitting of the late great Rob Burrow, it was this one. A simply superb piece of entertainment supplied by the Rhinos, and the Trin Leeds looked so comfortable, didn't they, in that first half? They looked like me, calm and comfortable on a sun lounger in Cyprus. Strawberry daiquiri, anyway. I mean, let's be fair, Newman should have had 2, shouldn't he? He should should have had 2 if it wasn't for Josh Rock. What a brilliant, brilliant piece of defending under pressure. His collection was as valuable as my church's collection plate on a Sunday. It was a great piece of fullback play, that, from Josh Rock. You've got to give him his due. Then yes, the curtain came down on round 13 in the south of France as the Dragons hosted Hull FC, and not since Chief Brodie have we seen so much chum shoveled. Oh, yeah. Absolutely diabolical performance yet again from the Dragons, and I'm taking nothing away from the professional FC. 10 minutes in, Herman SASA goes over, and Mathieu Laguerre summed up what was about to happen. His body language was simply shocking. Go and have a look for yourself. As soon as it goes over, 10 minutes in, and Mathieu gives up. You can see it all over it. I mean, I could hear Elvis Surrender was being sung that much from Mathieu Laguerre. No. You know, I'm going to have to shoot that dog. Anyway, yes, In the Sheds is back. I'm not going to really shoot my dog, by the way. But yes, In the Sheds is back. It's great to have In the Sheds back, boys, isn't it?
Oh, I love it, mate. I love it.
Yeah.
And it's great. You know what? It works really well all in one go.
All in one go. Yes.
I
know Dawn Kirby loved it this week. She was straight in. You know, she was picking up them puns. Puntastic. What do you think of it, Joel?
Can I say, I think it was actually better. Yeah, I did prefer it. It was good. And I want to say on record, everybody in the chat is seeing this now. Mr. David Kane is the Super League answer to Mr. Andrew Vossi.
Oh, mate, that's too kind. I'm not in the same league, but that's incredibly kind. Sky, if you're watching, I am open to offers. But anyway, yes, and on that bombshell, shall we say hello to Kerry Robinson? Because hello, Mrs. Robinson. Oh, it could be Miss Robinson, the new member of Super League Raw. 6-get membership purchase this evening. Well done, Kerry. You knew it makes sense. And that now allows you the opportunity this Thursday night, should you choose to join us for the Final Whistle podcast, the Challenge Cup special. Oh, yes. Get yourself all the details for that. Will be in the WhatsApp group, and I'll make sure you get added to that once the show finishes tonight. Is she going to be the only one, or are we going to get more? Oh, yes. The more members we've got, the more prizes we have got. We've done the Challenge Cup already. We've got the Ashes ones of Everton to give away. We're going to do some grand final tickets as well. Here's one for you as well, talking about Sam Burgess a bit earlier on. On the 17th of June, Warrington Wolves are hosting a quiz night. I'm the compere alongside Sam. All the first teamers are there. And the only way to get a ticket is through Super League Raw. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We've got 4 tickets to give away for that as well. You could be with the Super League Raw family at the Warrington Wolves Stadium on the 17th of June for the Warrington Wolves quiz night with me, Sam Burgess, all the first team players. But again, only members are going to win that. You've got to be in it to win it, folks. You've got to be in it to win it. Right. Oh, let's get to Wembley, shall we? First of all, let's give them the due. Featherstone Rovers taking on York. Are they taking on York? They're not taking on York. Who are they taking on? They are taking on York. Yeah, they are, sorry. Yeah, they are taking on York. Oh, no, that's why. Oh, I doubt it myself. I'm thinking of the women. Featherstone against York in the 1895 Cup. Of course, again, this one closes the day. It's going to be an empty stadium. And I hear that the ticket uptake for this game it's going to be a very empty Wembley, which is such
Featherstone 700 tickets so far.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. They need to find a solution for this, quite frankly. I mean, it's great that a lot of these lads part-time, it's the trip of a lifetime. They don't care. It's all about playing on that pitch. Absolutely. So they're not going to give a monkeys. Let's say that. York have had I think on paper, Joel, I think you'd probably agree, because you've seen a few of these teams at close quarters this year. I think York have had a trickier run to the 1895 Cup. Halifax Panthers, Bradford Bulls in there. They've been going decent, and Widnes as well. No pushovers. And you know, as per the scorelines, they've had to do it tough to get there. Would York be your favourites, Joel, going into this one?
They're a very dogged team. And I think if you were going to call them the underdogs, I think that would be a bit of a disrespectful term to them, because they've really done it the hard way. And some of the best teams, best clubs come from doing the hard stuff and willing to play for each other, doing the basics right. And that's exactly what York have done all season so far. And I think it's going to be a very good game, this, and I think they've got a massive shout within the game. This could be their chance.
Yeah, Greg, I mean, look, I mean, we've seen this over the last few years that whoever wins the 1895 Cup tends to go on and win the championship at the end of the season. Of course, you know, those all-important IMG points up for grabs, both in the final and for the team that goes on and win the championship. To these two sides, there's nothing more important on Saturday. Forget Warwick and KR, forget Wigan against Saints. This is all that matters to these teams and their supporters.
Yeah, and like you say, I don't think they'll have one single thought about how many people are in that ground. Their focus totally will be on getting across that line, lifting that trophy at whatever time at night it's going to be, and putting on a fantastic performance, getting those, doing proud for the fans that do turn up, the fans that don't. You know, it would be great if more York and Featherstone fans would buy tickets and get down and sit through what promises to be a really great day of rugby league. But yeah, I think, you know, they won't care how many people in the ground. Their focus, as I said, will be on lifting that trophy, getting those IMG points and building on that to hopefully, let's hope, get promotion next year if possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I get Tom. Tom message. Hello, Tom. To you this evening. I'll put his comment up on the screen. Sorry, Joe. They need to separate it from the Challenge Cup. I go back to what I said a minute ago, though, Tom. Some of these lads, you know, they'd have dreamed of playing at Wembley. They're not full-time pros. It's the stuff of dreams. So I think for me, whether it's a full, I mean, you say there's only 700 Featherstone fans going. I mean, they're not. They don't play in front of much more than that every week. So to play on, you know, in the National Stadium, these lads would not swap that for the world. And I don't think anybody should take that away from them. But I just think that, you know, for me personally, the perfect way of doing this should be the opening fixture. The women should be the second. And then the main course of the Challenge Cup final, the end. That's how you fill the stadium, because you would then get Warrington and KR fans getting in a bit earlier, maybe to watch these games, have a full day in the stadium. We were very surprised with the beer prices last year at Wembley. They weren't too bad, to be fair. So, yeah, it's one that they've got to do. But, hey, we'll be keeping a very close eye on that. The very, very best of luck to both of these two sides. Great to see the lower echelons of the game having the opportunity of running out at Wembley and picking up a trophy. Right, let's move on at a bit of a pace, because here we go. It's time to give our heads a wobble.
Give your head a wobble.
Yes, give your head a wobble. We do love a bit of give your head a wobble here at Super League Raw. Next will be the next report in a few moments' time. But before all that, we've got to get through give your head a wobble. Right, where are we going to go for first? Well, I put it was up on the screen earlier on, so we're going to go there. We're going to go there. When it was announced today that Jack Welsby was going to be out for 16 weeks, Mike Horton, a St. Helens fan, posted this. I'm unavailable to attend the games for the next 8 to 16 weeks. Just wondering if he can have a refund on his season ticket.
My word.
Oh, dearie me, Mike. And I bet
there really is not.
You know, I bet you were giving it large to your workmates when you were on that 4 streak, and I bet you were at the bottom cuddling the players and getting your autographs and basking in the sunshine of glory. And now, because it's turned a bit sour, you want a refund, sir? No, you're not having one. You're not having one. If anything, they should charge you double next year. Unbelievable. Right, let's now move to the Casper Tigers. Greg, they played well, Cass. I thought they
did all right, yeah.
All right, weren't they? All right, I think you can see progression in Cass. Not for Robbie Smith. Oh, no, because Robbie says the players didn't look bothered at all. Did you see a Casper Tigers team on Friday night at the HJ that didn't look bothered at all?
He clearly hasn't watched the same game I've watched.
No,
they were in that. It was a fight for most of that game.
I thought.
Yes. Warrington kind of pulled away and they came back into it. But you know what? To accuse players of not wanting to give their all, that's bang out of order as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree, Joel. It's a shocking look, isn't it? It's a shocking look when your team has played like that to then get that level of criticism.
I've got one question for you. What's wrong with being outplayed?
Well, they weren't. They had a good go.
They lost the game, right?
Yeah.
But you know, Warrington were just that bit better.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? Fans are just so funny. Unless they're winning week in, week out, no one's showing up. They're not bothered. They can't. As soon as a win comes along, as we saw with that Saints fan, oh, it's fantastic. Oh, let's pay them more money. But then as soon as it's coming away, just fair weather supporting that. Shocking.
I have to say, the way that Duffy passed that ball to Ratchford, and of course off he goes into the end zone. Outstanding, absolutely outstanding from Matt Duffy. You know what I mean? Where was the shotgun? Is all I would say. Unbelievable that was a forward pass all day long, and I felt for Cass on that. But very pleased for Stephen Ratchford. I have to say, he's 350th appearance for the wire and getting over for a try. Anyway, let's stay with Cass just for a moment because Shane Barker, let's call him Ronnie though, such is the giggle here. This one for you, Joel. He's saying, what's Ian Watson doing?
Flipping heck. Do you want me to tell you?
Oh, dearie me. It's good job you weren't taking a drink then, mate. You'd have choked. Ian Watson. Oh, dear me. Anyway, right. Now let's go to Hull FC. And look, again, for people who are watching for the first time, this is just fun. It's just fun. These 1% of your total, if that, of all of your supporters, we've got to learn to laugh at each other. If you're going to go on social media and talk dribble, we're all over it here at Super League Raw. Now, Hull FC, don't get me wrong, wonderful story this year. They're sitting in 5th position. They went down to Catalan and they did a number. But Tom Cowlan is getting a little bit too giddy because he says Davy Litton, is going to be world class. Steady on, sir. Steady on. Davy's doing well. But does anybody see Davy Litton in the NRL carving it up in any time soon and actually being in contention for the Dally M? Anybody?
Not at this moment in time.
No. Does anybody ever see that happening?
I'm surprised. I'm surprised that name's on there and not somebody else that we know.
Well, there you go. There you go. Well, yeah.
If Lewis Dodds can be ripping it up in the NRL, anybody can.
Right. Here's one for anyway. This is where if you actually listen, really listen hard. I know he's all the way in Hull, but you're about to see here Craig Forth completely explode because now we go to the Wigan Warriors and Scott Askew again. Matty Pete, what a coach, Matty Pete. He's a great coach, Matt Pete, isn't he?
Yeah, without doubt. Yeah,
he's a great coach, but not in Scott's opinion. Because as far as he was concerned at the weekend, rubbish management. Why name a bench if they're not going to be used? And French isn't a fullback, and that says everything. French didn't play, mate. What are you on about, Chief? Not only
he's not wrong.
He didn't play.
He's not wrong. French isn't a fullback. He's not wrong.
Be a fullback, but why would you criticise French being a fullback when he was field and French didn't even get on the pitch? This one's for you, matey. Right, okay. Oh, this is even better, though. Now, you can tell that the Wigan Warriors are not liking how good KR are this year. They're not liking it. They're getting a bit hot under the collar. They're getting a bit worried because of the form that KR is in. Rodney Ferguson, rather than play and do it the right way, he wants a bit of help. He wants a bit of help. This is a shocker from Rodney. Here it comes. The refs need to penalise Mikey Lewis. He's getting away with his arrogance. It needs stopping. So we're going to give penalties away for arrogance now. I mean, Martin Afire would have never played. What are you talking about, man? Unbelievable. Can you believe that? That's a shocker from Rodney. Oh, dear me. Oh, tell you, if I was Del Boy Joel, I'd be calling him a plonker. Carry on, mate.
That's why Wellesby's out for 16 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Chris Kendall had high shotted him because he was being arrogant.
Unbelievable, mate.
Well,
Unbelievable.
to coin a well-known rugby league phrase, I can't speak.
I can't speak. I'll tell you what else I can't speak. This was sent in by a member of the Lock Pot, which I believe is the Leeds Rhinos podcast. Lachlan Miller's better than Jay Field. Now, don't get me wrong. Lockie Miller's a good player. He's a good player. And there's not an awful lot in it. But steady on. I think it's a bit early to be saying that. Chris Walton. Here's another one. Right? Unbelievable. I don't think he was watching the same game that we were. Leeds Rhinos fan, Chris. Here he comes. I sometimes think we're deliberately trying to lose. How that ended up being squeaky bum time, I'll never know. Well, let me tell you, Chris. It was called Lockie Miller going off, Jake Connor going to fullback. That's what it's called, mate. If you actually watch what happened, that's what happened. That's why it was squeaky bum time, right? Because of that. And then, of course, Wakey, to their credit, didn't go away. Watch the game.
Yeah.
Stop writing nonsense. Go on, Greg.
I was going to say, and teams are entitled to play and score tries against your team.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Perfectly within the rules of the game.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Chris, mate, is all I would say to you. And then finally, we're going to go back to St. Helens. Oh, this is a peach. This is an absolute peach. Honestly, can you believe what you're about to see? No, you can't. Here we go. Right. Oh, we keep saying Delaney and Stevens are the future props of the game. I think young prop Doro showed us differently. Now, don't get me wrong, Doro played well, but come on. A Saints fan questioning Delaney and Stevens. Delaney has been floating about the top 5 top meter makers down the middle all year. And as for Stevens, how can you judge him when he's not even being played? What are you talking about, Phil? Deary me. Shocking effort, Phil, mate, to you. Unbelievable.
I think that's an absolute ludicrous statement.
Ludicrous, sir. And I've been doing that much head wobbling tonight. I'm getting a headache, so I'm going to go and lie down for 2 minutes and allow Greg to do the Nixon report. Here we go.
Here we go. I don't know if you realised, everybody, it was Wembley week. The 2 Challenge Cup finalists warmed up with the impressive wins at the weekend. I know we're probably going to speak about this in a little while, but they were really, really impressive. Saints trailing 12-4 at the break to champions York Valkyrie at the LNER. That's not easy to say stadium at the break, but it came back to win 16-12. Thanks to some great tries from Faye Gaskin. Get these teeth fixed. Faye Gaskin and Naomi Williams. You know, Faye Gaskin really is starting to go into some form for the Saints. And Wigan, well, what can you keep saying about Wigan Warriors so far this season? You know, we're only a few games into the season, but they've been so impressive. We've had such an impressive start to the season. A 34-12 win at Headingley. Molly Jones getting 3 of their 8 tries. You know, the Rhinos will point to the fact that maybe they had a few players missing through injury, and Dennis Betts fielded his strongest side, which included Anna Dennis in her first appearance for the season, you know, the England international. But even so, this is Warriors' second big win of the season over the Yorkshire rivals. If you remember, they beat them 44-14 in the Challenge Cup semi-final win to set up that final against Saints this weekend. Like Leeds, unbelievably Leeds, Warrington still looking for the first win of the season after falling at home to fellow strugglers Barrow Raiders. 14-6 to score in this one. 6-all at half-time, but the Raiders dominated much of the game, if I'm being perfectly honest, at Halliwell Jones. And, you know, they made a few mistakes in that first half, a couple of bomb tries that really did cost them. A little bit of ill discipline in the first half as well. They lost a player to the sin bin just before half-time. You know, they defended really, really well, Warrington, in the second half, but just didn't have enough to keep the Barrow Raiders out. So, you know, it's looking like a bit of a struggle for the Wire this season. Prop turned centre, Kelly Friend, she was outstanding for Barrow. It was her try on the hour that marked the turning point for visitors in this game. Elsewhere, England international Amelia Brown, what a great player she is. She scored 4 tries as Huddersfield Giants ended Lee's winning starts this season. 32-6 win at Laund Hill. Not at the John Smiths, but at Laund Hill, which is a lovely little kind of stadium over there in Huddersfield. And they sit 4th now in the table behind Wigan, Saints and Lee respectively. That is that's a real kind of boost for the Giants. To be sitting in 4th at this stage in the Super League is really good, and they're ahead of York as we go into the break for the Challenge Cup, who are above Barrow on points difference. So, you know, Barrow are doing really, really well as well. Then Leeds are there on 1 point in 7th, and then unfortunately for me and for the Wire, Warrington are down 8th, as I say, still looking for their first win of the season. So there we go. That's a roundup of these week's Women's Super League ties, and all eyes on Wembley and Wigan against Saints, which should prove to be an absolutely fantastic game.
Absolutely, sir. As always, wonderful. Team of the Week will be coming in a moment. But before we get to Team of the Week, we are going to have a quick look at this Challenge Cup final between the Saints and, of course, the Wigan Warriors. Saints going for a 5 in a row. Let's take a look, though, at their road to Wembley. Well, it's not actually their road to Wembley. I've done a little bit here because I think we'd all agree, other than York, Leeds, Wigan and Saints, you can't really take too much of a steer off the rest. So these are the head-to-heads, and I when I put it's easy for me to say, when I put this together, sounded like Ronnie Barker myself. Then in open.
I know. Well, I've lost my teeth tonight as well.
I know, unbelievable. But St. Helens, Wigan. I mean, look, let's get into some detail here, right? When you compare and contrast these two teams against the Big Four, because they're a part of the Big Four, Saints have had 2 games against the Valkyrie and won by 4 points in each game. Wigan played Valkyrie and beaten by 34. Saints have played Leeds Rhinos and drew. Wigan have played Leeds Rhinos twice, 44-14 and 34-12. I think Saints have got it all on to make it 5-5. I think the Wigan Warriors are coming strong, and that graphic, Greg, pretty much tells that story.
Wigan have been unbelievable this season. They've built and they've built and they've built over the last few seasons. It was only a couple of years ago where, you know, they weren't struggling, but they weren't at the level that the top 3 of York, Leeds and Saints were. And I've got every admiration for what Wigan are doing with their women's team. They've looked at it and they've thought, right, yeah, okay, let's go for it. We're going to have a women's team. Let's go for it. And it's paid dividends this season. They've hired a rugby league legend in Dennis Betts as their head coach. They've got a great team in place. They brought through a lot of youth, but they've also supplemented that with some really skillful, strong, classy players from Papua New Guinea, from Australia. And I think, you know, as I said right at the beginning of this season, I think Wigan this season will upset a few teams, and don't be surprised if they win silverware. And I think they will win
on Saturday. Yeah,
and backing my predictions win on Saturday.
Well, Jamie Halliwell was just in the chat. We'll be enjoying Jamie's company and her dad's company this weekend at Wembley as well. Looking forward to seeing you, Jamie. And your tickets, I've just remembered, they will be forwarded straight after the show. Oh, dear Lord. It's been a long week.
That's reminded, Jamie.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, look, Joel, I mean, just before I bring you in, let's get into a bit more detail. One thing's for certain, you know, in the Challenge Cup, the 2 leading try scorers in the Challenge Cup are Amy Hardcastle with 8 and Phoebe Huck with 7. They're going to need those 2 girls. Georgie Sutherland has got 6 as well. They're going to need those 3 firing at the weekend. That said, you know, Wigan's Grace Banks is in great form this season. She's banged in 5 in Super League. Anna Davis, of course, who can forget her in that semi-final. She had a wow of a game for the Wigan Warriors. Look, here we go. Now, what I've done here is I've clumped it all together, right? So I've clumped the season together for this graphic. It's the first Challenge Cup final for the Wigan Warriors. Saints have won a perfect 7 from 7. That's remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. They're going for 5 from 5. It's remarkable. Challenge Cup history, they only had ever played each other in the 1 game, believe it or not. Just the 1 game. That game, when I find it, let me just go and find it, was a quarter-final game in 2021. Saints won 36-0. Okay? How Wigan have come a long way since then. The last 10 meetings, 10-0 to Saints. So, you know, for people who are not clued up on what's going on this season, if they just saw this slide, they think it'd be an absolute easy win for the Saints. But league position this year, first against second in Wigan's favour. Look at the points that Wigan are scoring. 364 points. They're averaging 60 points a game. Saints are averaging 43.6 a game at 262. And the defence is absolutely even Stevens. So just because of the scoring power of Wigan this season, Joel, you would have to say advantage the Warriors, mate.
It makes very interesting reading because you'd think just off the face of it that Saints had run away with this because they have done for so many years and it's always been the big 3. Though times are changing and it's great. You know, you're seeing some clubs really putting a good foot forward. You know, like so Wigan, even Huddersfield are doing well this season, which is lovely. So there's that, but I think for the game to grow, you need to have more names on the trophy, new names on the trophy, and this could most definitely be the year. It could be the year that happens when we get a new name on the trophy, and if it does, it's brilliant because then it creates more competition. There's younger girls who are thinking, I want to be part of that. I want to get my hands on the trophy, and then they get into the grassroots, and the grassroots goes through to, the more professional amateur clubs, and then they come through to the professionals, which is fantastic. And I really do hope for the league's sake and the game that we do see a new name on that this year.
It's going to be fascinating. A 11:45 kickoff. Be interesting to see how many supporters make the pilgrimage. I wonder if our new member, Gary Whitekiness, a Wigan Warriors fan, is going to be going. If you are, get in touch with us, Gary. It'd be lovely to see you down at Wembley, sir.
I can guarantee that Gary Whitekiness will be at Wembley.
Yes, can you?
Evening, Gary. Yes.
How do you know Gary, do you, sir?
I know Gary well, yeah.
Splendid. Outstanding. Gary, well done for joining Super League Raw. Absolute delight to have you as part of the community. Outstanding stuff. So, yeah, that's our little trip in terms of the women's final. Oh, hello. That's a little
that was scary.
Yeah, that's safe for captain's run, the Dallas one. That's safe for captain's run. Anyway, there you go. Good luck to both sides. Let's hope we see cherry and white and Bedby shirts aplenty. And again, if we're going to grow the women's game, come on. I know your men's teams aren't there, but, your women are representing your town in your shirts. And, perhaps sorry for saying this, but from a Bedby perspective, it might be the only trophy you're seeing St. Helens this year. So, I'm just talking the truth. Just talking the truth. I'm not having a go. It's fact. You would not think that Saints in their present guys at the men's one I'm talking about now, that they're going to win silverware. They're not going to win the Shield, and it's very unlikely they'll get to Old Trafford. So, Bedby fans out there, get to Wembley. Go and support your ladies.
Certainly with the injuries they've got now, and
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Go and support your ladies. Absolutely. Why not? Right, gentlemen, it's that time. It's that time of the week once again where we do the definitive Team of the week. Oh, yes. Researched. No favoritism. Just the best 13 players of the week. Team of the week is sponsored by The Good Estate Agent. With an average turnaround time of 3 weeks, if you want your house sold quickly, then contact Stefan today on 01942 356 577. Quote Super League Raw for 33% off. It's the Super League Raw Team of the Week for round number 13 with the Good Stage of 2025. Here we go again at 1. Here's Will Price. He just wants to make the world dance, and that's exactly what he did. He even threw in a skip or two. Such was the ease in which he destroyed the Dragons. At 2 is Josh Hewless, who, like Tom Hanks' Josh Baskin, may wish to be a little bigger, but who cares when you can shimmy Cocoa Pop like Josh? He showed why his value once again on Friday. At 3 is Davey Litton, and has ever there been a name so akin to the opponents he was facing? Litton, drop the N to an R, litter, which is another word for rubbish, and that sums up the Dragons perfectly. At 4 is Aaron Lindop of the Warrington Wolves, who continues to develop week on week, bound for Ross Shawley. But for now, the floppy-haired wire hero is staying put with his silky hands to boot. At 5 is the Wigan hat-trick hero Jacob Douglas. He showed he was stronger than a cream cracker and leaves a strong aftertaste as a mini cheddar. All in all, he was the perfect base for tries that tasted of caviar. At 6 is once more Magic Mikey Lewis, who punched a hole through the Saints as a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world. Saints did not feel lucky to be on the same field as this enforcer. At 7 is Lachlan Lamb of the Lee Leopards, who reminds us this year of a Stenner stairlift. Oh yes, that's right, he has the ability to assist with poise, precision and comfort. Ho ho ho, going up anyone? At 8 is Herman SASA, who proves every day can be Halloween. Such is his frightening presence, whether the lights are on or they're off. Chris Satai wondered why he was getting bigger. Then the answer hit him very hard. At 9 is the tackling sensation, Jared O'Connor. He wraps around legs as easy, as close and as tight as Poison Ivy to Irma Furman. It doesn't matter if your name's Bill or not, as Jared will kill your forward momentum every time. At 10, there is nothing meek about Mike McMeekin, he terrorises his opponents like a bacon slicer let loose in a nudist camp. Talk about men running for cover. You bet they do when Big Mike is about. At 11 is Frankie Holton of the Lee Leopards, just like reading a book about anti-gravity. Frankie is hard to put down. If you don't believe me, well, he's got an 87% win ratio this season, you know, and that is why he is a second row bestseller. At 12 is George Lawler of the Casford Tigers, who had a wow of the game at the HJ Stadium. The Dennis the Menace fan club president got his gnashers into the wire with one of his best career performances to date. And finally, at 13 is Ben Curry, who once again brought Corma to a madras of a second half of the HJ. He was just the chapati to latch on to Sneed's assist to allow the Wire fans to pop it on home for some celebratory booners. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your team of the week for round number 13. Yes, only here at Super League Raw do you have Lachlan Lamb compared to a Stenner Stairlift. Outstanding stuff, outstanding fare. Yeah, me and Bazza Kingston, and thanks again to Bazza for stepping in on Round Unpack this week. Again, no worries for Steph. Steph is perfectly fine. Don't worry about Steph. He's just very, very busy. He sends his apologies. I know a lot of people are concerned for the sale, but he will be back. Don't you worry about that for the final whistle on Thursday and next week as well. Don't worry about that, folks. But we were talking, me and Bazza, about the official team of the week. Ryan Hall getting in at 5, an absolute nonsense, and Sam Luckley as well getting in the front row. Again, absolute nonsense. It does make you wonder who picks those teams. But boys, that's our effort. I think that's, well, I would because I've done the research. That's right. But Greg, your first take on it?
I just can't get Phoenix Nights out of my head. Think about stairlifts. Jacob Douglas, take a bow, young man.
Yeah.
More performance. Am I right in saying he's off to Saints next season?
There's a lot of rumour about that, isn't there?
Yeah. I might, maybe Gary, I'll confirm that in the chat. But yeah, he's got a lot of potential. Great to see. I mean, SA. What can you say about SA? McMeekin has been solid, has been consistent when he's played. And somebody said in the chat, Ben Curry, he's had a really, really good season, and it's great to see him in there. I know I might be a little bit biased, but he's been called upon to play in a lot of different positions, not to start games, but throughout games. He's gone from loose to second row to centre to standoff, and I think he's had a really good influential season this year, Ben Curry. So I'm really pleased to see him in there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, do you know what? I'd have to go and check, but I think that's the most Warrington players we've had in any team of the week this year.
I think it may. I mean, good to see Thewlis in there. He's very, very underrated. Thewlis.
Yeah.
Really is. Lots of people don't rate him for some reason, but pound for pound, his defence is great, his kicking's great, and he scores tries.
Mate, the amount of times he brings us off the back fence and gets us out of trouble, mate, is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Joel. We talked about Einstein's brain being, taken for medical science. Should Aaron Lindop be worried about his hands?
Well, whatever he's doing, he just needs to carry on. He's a wonderful player, and I think he's got a very bright future. Clearly, I know that when we had the opportunity of being in your company at Warrington not too long ago, the club clearly have a lot of time and money invested in him, and you can see why from his performances. Whenever he does play, he has an absolute stellar game. So well done to him, and it's really nice to see George Lawler in there. I don't remember the last time George Lawler was in
I genuinely think that's his debut.
Is he on debut?
I think he's on debut. I don't think George Lawler's ever been in there. And can you believe it? I have to say, I don't normally disagree with Simo. Simo had a right pop at Lawler when we were doing Round Unpack. Lawler was outstanding.
Yeah, he was. It was really good. I think it shows that this is right, because the likes of Lawler would never get into the team of the week. With any Sky or anyone, because he just is not the type of guy that does anything that's that fancy or flashy. But clearly, this is why your team of the week is correct, because it's based on stats and how they've played. And that's it.
Absolutely, mate. No, I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more, mate. So anyway, and another player I think completely deserves a mention tonight before we move on is Jared O'Connor. His defensive work. I'm telling you now, if Jared O'Connor was not on that pitch in the second half, Leeds lose that game. The amount of tackling he did in that second half against Waker was quite simply exceptional.
Is that Jared's debut as well?
No, he's been in many times.
Yeah.
But Jared, to be fair to him, mate, again, there's ball playing hookers, and then there's the gritty hookers, and I put Jared in that category where he's not an assister. He's a I'll get it out the ruck as quick as I can, but his defensive work is just so vitally important to the Rhinos.
Is your McAlorum type of football.
Exactly, mate. He's again overlooked because he's not an Ipape, because he's not a Danny Walker, because he's not a Cruz Leeming, and I could go on. He probably gets overlooked a lot, but Jared O'Connor, you ask any of his teammates, the work he does, it's just sensational. And by all accounts, I don't know anything about rugby league, but I'll just leave that there again. I'm just going to leave that there again, my Facebook friend. I'm just going to leave that there. I'm a bit of a crank by all accounts.
Really?
I like Christmas. I do like Christmas. I do. I don't deny that, but yeah. Anyway, not to worry. By all accounts, I mean, a lot of love for Bazza in the chat, in terms of course, Baz becoming a celebrity now in Hull Kingston Rovers region of the world. By all accounts, I'm going on the Robin pod as well. I'm led to believe we'll have to wait and see on that one. But hey, we will wait and we will see. Right, we've got to go there. Here we go.
Ooh, pass me a cucumber sandwich.
I absolutely love that tune. I don't mind saying it. I say it every week, and I'm going to say it again. And that's the
Is
way
it Monsters Inc., Dave?
No, it's not. I don't know what it is, mate. I just found it, but it's
Sounds like
I love it.
Monsters
It's I feel like getting a nice glass of red and an little baguette. But anyway, that's by the by. Let's move on. Right, let's start at Lee against, of course, at the Giants. Everybody went Lamb, 3 points, absolutely.
Yeah.
McNamara came out. We gave him a point. He got a couple off the Man of Steel and the Albert Goldthorpe. Right, oh God, here we go. Oh gee, oh God Almighty. Right, I have to say, Man of Steel got no real issue with this, albeit I thought Lola Hay was better. Joel, I'll take your view. They gave a point to Flanagan. Great try, played well, but I thought Tui in the second half really stepped up and caused them a lot of problems, mate.
Tui was instrumental in a lot of the attacking plays.
Yeah.
Whether he was directly or indirectly involved, he was there or thereabouts with everything that happened. Flanagan was fantastic as always, but it was the try. That's what he did.
Yeah,
and
but anyway, it gets worse because the Albert Goldthorpe. Who do you think the Goldthorpe gave a point to? Would you say? Where are you going?
They're giving it to Edwin.
Well, no, right. Well, the madness of this is, right, they gave it to a player that actually went off injured. David Armstrong.
What? Really?
Of course, yeah, of course.
They gave it to David Armstrong. Yes, he scored a try. It was an important try, but by David Armstrong standards.
He had a bit of mare, though, didn't he, for David?
It's a nonsense. Never in a million years it was David Armstrong, a top 3 player on that pitch. Never in a million years. Absolutely scandalous. Just scandalous.
We had more players further up than him, probably.
I agree with you. Completely agree with you. Right. And again, we do this segment because, look, we pride ourselves on our team of the months and our Super League Raw trophy because we don't do nonsense. Next week, we'll be announcing our Super League team of the month for the month of May. We don't rush it. We get it right. I need a week to get that right, but we will get it right. But unbelievable. Wigan, as you'd expect, everybody went Douglas man of the match with a hat-trick. Yeah, you can't really blame him. Field, we gave Field 2. So did the Man of Steel. No issue with that. And Senma got a point with the Man of Steel. Dupree got. I mean, it was one of them. I mean, it was one of those games where I'm not really going to split hairs with regards to that game, if I'm being honest. Let's go to the Craven Park. Mikey Lewis got ours, and Mikey Lewis got the Albert Goldthorpe. He got a point off Man of Steel, which I think was very harsh. Broadbent, we gave 2. We gave 2 to Broadbent. So did the Man of Steel. Don't agree with this. Albert Goldthorpe gave 2 to Minchella. Sorry, fell over the line for his try. I like Elliot Minchella, but he wasn't a top 3 player on that pitch. I'm sorry, he wasn't. Unbelievable. And Man of, I mean, Doro got 3 for the Man of Steel. Now I know he I know he had some barnstorming runs. He had some nice moments, but over the 80-minute period, did anybody see Dorrow as man of the match? Was Dorrow more influential in that game than Mikey Lewis?
No.
No.
Anyone?
No.
No.
Simple answer is no.
No. That is a
Good,
very
but not
simple
great.
answer. It's ridiculous. Right, let's go to Warrington. It gets worse. Warrington against Castleford. Right, we gave Dufty 3. So did the Goldthorpe, and the Man of Steel gave him 2. Happy days. The Goldthorpe gave Max Wood 2. That one run caught the eye. Do I think he was top 3? No, he was good. For the minutes he played, he was good. He wasn't top.
Yeah.
Sorry, he wasn't top 3. That's a bit silly, if you don't mind me saying. George Lawler took a point off everybody. Rightly so. George Lawler had a great game.
Played well,
Right.
George Lawler.
Who got the 3 points for the Man of Steel, boys, for the Warrington Wolves? I don't know if you've seen this, but this is nonsense. Who got 3 points?
Pulis?
Fewless. That'd be better than this one. Greg?
Ratchford
Probably would be better than this one. Mark Sneed.
Wow.
Mark Sneed got 3 points for the Man of Steel for that performance on Friday. I'm sorry. Never in a million years. Never in a million years. And Steve saying Maxwell got it in the stadium. I agree with that. It was, mate, you take that run out of it, he was okay. Max did his job, but he wasn't man of the match. Never in a million years. It was Wood man of the match.
I thought Max Wood was impressive.
For the minutes he played, he was, but he wasn't man of the match.
He was impressive and he made some good yards.
I don't do Patrick Mago 15 minutes man of the match, mate. Don't do that, mate.
You can't say a 15-20 minute stint with some great runs is better than somebody that orchestrates the game or somebody has a massive impact. Like, Dufty was head and shoulders.
Absolutely.
Man of the match in that game.
Curry had more impact than Sneedy.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah.
Shocking. Anyway, for the interest of time, let's go to Leeds. Do you know what? This surprised me. I didn't give Callum Watkins a point, yet he got 3 Goldthorpe and 2 Man of Steel. I didn't see that. I really didn't see that. Didn't see it. Not when you consider other players on the field who were better, the likes of Connor, O'Connor, and Jowett. Those 3 for me were the top 3 by a street. Connor got 3 Man of Steel points. He got 1 Albert Goldthorpe point. Jowett got 1 point off Man of Steel, 2 off the Goldthorpe. I just didn't see the Watkins one. I'm sorry. He wasn't top 3 for me. And then finally, we go to, Hull FC. Right, let's go to Hull FC just to bring this little segment to an end. So Hull FC, we went 3 for Price, 2 for Litton, 1 for SASA. The Man of Steel went 3 for Davy Litton. What game were they watching? He wasn't man of the match. They gave 2 to SASA and 1 for Price. It gets worse though. Albert Goldthorpe, 1 for SASA, 2 for Price, 3 for Aidan Caesar.
Wow.
Oh, honestly, God give me strength. I'll tell you what, I might use.
I tell you what, they must be giving free beer away in those press rooms.
Oh, God knows, mate. God knows. I mean, there's a lot of people in there saying it's an absolute shocker. Some of those absolutely diabolical. I'll tell you what, though, I might use some of them for questions because coming up on the 25th of June is this.
Oh, NBA.
Yes, so there you go. The quiz night returns to the Bluebell on Wednesday, the 25th of June. Match tickets for your club at the Halliwell Jones Stadium up for grabs, meal vouchers as well. Get yourselves down there. Outstanding night at the Bluebell. Steve, you can play with me dad. He's got one. In terms of absolutely outstanding night of entertainment. Now, look, people will say, well, I thought it was a rugby league quiz. It is a rugby league quiz. The questions all link back or will link back to rugby league. So, for example, on quiz night 1, we played Bright Eyes by Art Garfunkel. The link was this. Of course, there was multiple choice answers you could pick from. One of them was the Leeds Rhinos. And this is what you needed to do. Art Garfunkel, Bright Eyes, was from Watership Down. Watership Down had rabbits, and rabbits live in burrows, and Rob Burrow played for Leeds. So that's why it was Leeds. So there's always a link back to rugby league. It's a great laugh, a great night. Get yourselves down to the Bluebell, 25th of June, 7 o'clock start. Get yourselves to the pub. Come and be with the best community in rugby league. Great prizes on offer. We would love to have your company. Right, let's get to the big one. The road to Wembley starts tonight here on Super League Raw. This is what we're doing from now until the end of the show. Yes, it's Warrington against Hull KR. There you can see the road to the final. Of course, the first 2 rounds, both sides were drawn against a lower opposition. Warrington had a tricky task against Widnes, it has to be said, whereas KR found their 2 opening fixtures quite straightforward. Both teams would have been happy with their performances in the quarterfinal, of course. At the time, Hull FC were in great form, and that was a real scalp for KR, 32-16 at that moment in time. And then, of course, the semi-finals, a real tight tussle. Warrington, very good against a very good Lee Leopard side, and, of course, the Catalan Dragons, very straight, it was straightforward, really, after half-time for the KR. They ran out easy winners. Warrington, Joel, would appear to have had a far more difficult journey to Wembley. And I'll just put you up mute, mate. Off you go.
Thank you. Yes, they have. But that doesn't mean to say that it's a loss and that they're definitely going to lose. That's not the case. Some clubs just do have a tougher string of games to play, and clearly you have done. But that also means that it shows that you've got that win and never die attitude in you. So regardless of who you've got in the squad for this week, it doesn't mean that you're going to lose the game, and clearly you've done it well against Saints and Lee. Whereas, no disrespect, but of course FC, put up a bit of a fight against KR, but it wasn't that good where it was close. You're thinking, man, they've got a chance of winning here, and then clearly it was an easy win for them against the Dragons. So I think KR will have to make sure that they go into this very professionally, which I'm sure they will do. Take nothing for granted, and really know that there's going to be a strong wire team that's going to be wanting to play for the Badgers on the front.
Greg, KR cruised to the final, I would say.
Yeah, but you've got to remember that Hull FC had not Wigan out the round before.
Yeah.
So, there were big expectations of Hull FC, and I was surprised that was as easy it was for Hull KR. That was probably the only hurdle that maybe KR have had on their run to Wembley. So cruise, maybe not the right word, but that the Hull FC game could have been a Beecher's Brook for them. So yeah. Warrington have had tougher fixtures in the quarters and the semis, I think.
Yeah, and they were. I mean, and you've got to take into account as well that league game. Warrington, the amount of they had some key players out in that league game as well.
And it was a hot day as well. It was
a
a really hot day.
It was a hot day. Some leaders really stepped up that day. Paul Vaughan being one of them, without doubt.
Oh mate, yeah.
Whatsoever. Right. Okay. Let's get into a bit more detail. Here we go. Head to head. Oh, let's just change that around a little bit. There you go. Let's do that. So finals. Warrington going for their 10th win in the Challenge Cup final. They've been there 20 times. This will be their 21st. They're going for their 10th win. As for KR, well, as you can see there, 8 appearances at Wembley or in the Challenge Cup final. Only the 1 win for KR at this moment in time. Of course, a lot of expectation. We'll get to that in a moment in terms of KR. We then go to past finals. Yes, Warrington beat KR in 1905. That's how long ago it was. It was at Headingley. It wasn't at Wembley. And Warrington won by 6 points to 0. So there you go. That was the only time these two clubs have met in the final. Challenge Cup history between the two, all rounds, 15-3. Looking good this for Warrington, but it gets worse in a minute. The last meetings, of course, KR are now a juggernaut. In the last 10 meetings, KR have had the better of Warrington 6-4. There's a gulf between them in terms of league positions going into this game. History is one thing, reality and the present day is another. KR are a wonderful, wonderful rugby league side. We see that week in, week out. 6-4 in the last 10 meetings. First against 8th. You can see there the scoring power of KR. 540 points in all comps this season, averaging 31.7 a game, only 21. And defensively, that's even more impressive, gentlemen. Look at that from a defense. They're averaging 8.5 a game. That's just ridiculous. I mean, that is, not only is their attack outstanding, but to have only conceded 8.5 a game, no wonder the 2-7 favourites. They're absolutely a joyous rugby league side to watch. Joel, before I come to Greg and we talk Warrington, let's talk KR. It's a privilege to watch. I mean, certain rugby league teams, the great Leeds sides, we've had great Saints sides, we've had great Wigan sides. KR, for me, this current crop is a great side. To be recognised, it has to win silverware. But just putting the silverware to one side, we are watching a side at the very, very top of their game. They're a wonderful rugby league team, aren't they?
They are, and it's been a club that I've had a soft spot for quite a number of years. Before Super League Raw days, I just like what the club have done over the years. They've taken the time and they've slowly built something quite incredible. The decisions in the back room have been what have made the playing group, the stuff that goes on the field, what it is today. They've recruited really, really well. They've got the right coaches, the right managers, directors, from head to bottom. They've got absolutely everything correct, and that's why they're in a position where they're in right now. So when you look at to what you're saying there, Dave, yes, it's a wonderful team to watch because of everything that's gone on in the background. And I think them two stats there, the last 10 meetings and the points against, are the two key stats for the final. You don't look so much against the league positions and things like that too much, because the Challenge Cup is a far different game. It's a knockout. It's like a playoff game. It's a final, and it's winner takes all. So the issue for Warrington here is that Hull have got such a great defence as well as their attack that they become a real formidable team. And this Hull KR have now become, or are now becoming, what was the St Helens, the Wiggins and the Leeds Rhinos of many years ago. But like you say, they've got to win something for that to cement themselves in that position. Now, their fans will say, well, you can't put that pressure on us. Unfortunately, they've put the pressure on themselves from playing so well. You look at the scores that they've had, even though the run's been easier for them to get into the final, they've still had to win. And you look how they're playing against teams in the league. you're just a bit worried to go to KR because you think, man, I'm going to get a drumming every time I go, unless you are one of the top 3 clubs. So they're a very formidable side. And what they've got to do is not let the pressure get to them too much, where they just allow themselves to believe in their own hype. They've got to still put that effort in. And once they become champions and winners, that's when they can start enjoying it a little bit. But that's the danger for them if there's anything.
Do you know what, that and I know that our Robins members will not take offence by what I'm about to say. I think, Joel, the word that you just used there was believe your own hype, and I completely agree with that. Nothing is won until it's won, and even if KR do win, I don't go. I mean, we had a stupid wobble last week where somebody said even if they win it, it's because refs have given it them. Nonsense. If KR win on Saturday. Yeah. And I'll be the first to shake my Robins friends by the hand. As much as I'll be disappointed, I'll be delighted for them because I know what it's like as a supporter to go throughout all of those years in your life. Some of these Robins fans had never seen their team pick a trophy up. I'd never seen my team until 2009 pick a trophy up. I know how much that means. So I'll be the first to offer a handshake to anybody who has gone and watched their team for that amount of time, not seeing them pick a trophy up. And I'll enjoy it. I'll enjoy seeing their happiness. I'll be disappointed, but I'll be happy to do it. But this bit about hype is right. You've won nothing. And even if you do win this, I just ask, like I ask every time, KR fans, win with class. You've got a wonderful, wonderful team. Be the embodiment of them off the field. The good thing about our members they are the embodiment of them off the field. The good rugby league people, they play it straight, and they will be brilliantly behaved, and they will win with grace, and I know they will. I just hope that I just beg all Hull KR fans, if you start to win trophies, do it with class. Just do it with class. But Greg, the one shining light here for Warrington, okay, because I think there's no doubt about it, the bookies aren't daft, and anybody going into this game who doesn't see KR as favourites know nothing about rugby league. It's as simple as that. They have to be favourites, and rightly so.
Yeah.
But that said, with expectation comes pressure. We know that. Dare I say, one of the greatest days ever. Sorry, Cherry and White fans. It was 1998, Sheffield 17, Wigan 8. One of the greatest Challenge Cup finals in my living memory, because nobody gave Sheffield a prayer. Nobody.
No.
Wigan, and again, you talk about, was it arrogance? Was it they took the foot off the gas? Did they take him too easy? I don't know. Sheffield 17, Wigan 8.
I think you're disingenuous to Sheffield there. I thought they were absolutely superb on the day.
They were, but
you're right.
Nobody had them down to win.
And the same in 2019, Saints and Warrington, mate, as well. Saints went into that game, and this is the danger for Hull KR, that they cannot go into that game thinking they've already won it. Doesn't matter if it's against Warrington, against Huddersfield, against whoever. If they go to Wembley thinking that they've won that game, they will come unstuck. And I think that was the issue with Saints in 2019. I think maybe, as you say, the issue with Wigan in 98, and teams in different sports that are massive favourites and come unstuck. Man City against Crystal Palace in the FA Cup final this year. Sometimes if you're the overwhelming favourite, that is the biggest obstacle to you winning that cup.
100%.
For me, Warrington, the biggest danger for Warrington, apart from the fact that Hull KR are a wonderful, wonderful rugby league team, is fielding players that aren't fit. It backfired on us last season with Fitzgibbon coming off at half time. Do we risk players? We've got Sneed and Williams together. If Williams comes back, that partnership hasn't had time to grow.
Williams is definitely back. There's no doubt. Williams is 100% playing, mate. 100%.
And do you know what? That is great, but it worries me that the Sneed and Williams partnership hasn't had time to grow.
Well, hang on.
Hang on, you've got Lewis and May.
Hang on. Let me just interject. First game, Sneed Williams, Sneed, St. Helens, and Williams. One game. So good players can play together.
Of course they can, but the thing is, this is a Challenge Cup final.
Correct.
And the pressure is different. So, you've got Lewis and May who have forged that partnership. we might be playing Fitzgibbon, who isn't 100%. Does King come back, who isn't 100% fit? We'll miss Matty Ashton. We will miss Matty Ashton. He makes yards coming out of defence in his own half. So for me, it is a tough one.
Well, just let's because we're going to take our time. We've still got 20 minutes. Let's take our time. King is definitely back. So King's back. Williams is back. There's no doubt about that. Okay. In terms of
Andy Bibby's saying I'm talking nonsense again.
Well, Andy's entitled to his opinion, as so are you. Gary Bow, we're going to have a little go. Gary Bow saying that they lost with class against Lee in 2023. Losing is one thing, winning is another. Winning with class is very different to losing with class. Is all I would say, Gary Bow. Joe,
and can I say on that, because I saw that comment, I was going to say KR in 23 weren't the team that they are this year.
Correct.
And the hype that's been given them. Like, I don't know if I've been living under a rock, but I've been seeing a lot of this year, the big dog title. I'm sorry, there's no big dog until you've won something. So even though I love my KR friends, please don't take it disrespectfully. There's no big dogs until you've won something. So that's all I can say on that.
And even then, you're not big dog. Because again, I go back to winning with class. Even then, you're not big dogs. That if you're using the word big dogs, that for me is wrong.
Yeah,
it's wrong because it actually antagonizes, and you shouldn't be using language like that. Yeah. They're not big dogs. They're not. They're a rugby league team, and they're a brilliant rugby league team. But they should not be called big dogs because they're not. For me, and like I say, we've got great KR people in our membership, phenomenal, and they will not mind me saying this because I know it winds them up as well. I genuinely think KR win on Saturday. I genuinely do. I'm going down with the full family. I'm spending good money to go down to a game that I genuinely think KR win. But I'm a rugby league supporter, and I'm a Warrington supporter. I don't say that often on this show, but I am. But hey, just do it right. Going back to, but again, underdog mentality. Hull FC against Leeds in 2005, 25-24. Warrington 2019 against Saints 18-4. Nobody gave Warrington a prayer. The year before, Catalan beat Warrington 2014.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody gave Catalan a prayer. So this is Warrington. Any team in any final has got a chance because it's about how you play on the day. Anybody's got a chance. Everything your head tells you KR win, but there's 80 minutes of rugby league to play. There's 80 minutes of rugby league to play, and anything can happen. Joe, before we go back to Greg, I asked Bazza on Round Unpacked.
Mm-hmm.
Mikey Lewis, Man of Steel elect for a second year in a run. Wonderful rugby league player. Unlike Give Your Head a Wobble, I don't want him penalised for arrogance because I think good players throughout history have arrogance. It's what makes them great players. You can't take that away from them. But we know how much this means to Mikey. And I'm not saying this as a Warrington fan. I'm saying this as a rugby league fan. We know how much this game means to Mikey. If you cut him open, he's a Robin through and through. That's what the lad is. This really matters to the kid. We know he's an emotional lad. We saw it when he did his debut for England. And I said to Basil, I saw a bit of emotion in him on the post-match interview when he was being asked about the Challenge Cup. He was fighting back his emotions. I want Mikey Lewis to show the best of Mikey Lewis, even though that could be to the detriment of Warrington. Stages like the Challenge Cup final deserve players of this stature being on their best and giving rugby league memories. And I just hope and pray that Mikey channels all of that emotion in the right way and he has a great game on Saturday. What do you say?
Yeah, I listened to that and it got me thinking that arrogance has got two connotations. It's got good and it's got bad. It can be a blessing, it can be a curse. As you mentioned, you have to have that certain amount of arrogance to become one of the top players. I don't think you become Man of Steel without it. We know that. That's a given. But for Mikey, this is going to be the day that we're going to see whether he is the arrogant player that uses this arrogance for good and can rally the team together and play extremely well. Or will this hype that we talked about get to his head and the arrogance then being to his detriment and to the team's detriment.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be a player that's going to be doing anything that's going to go against the team for the team. Because as you said, when you see that emotion within him, that is the good arrogance that he's got, and I think that's what he's going to show. And yes, all right, he plays to the opposition fans, but good. So you should do. It's part of the game. It's what we're there for. You know, if you're going to give it to him, he's going to give it you back. So you've got to understand that. You know, and I think he's a wonderful player. We're very blessed to have him. You know, when I say we, I'm talking about the Super League fraternity. This is going to show whether he is a boy or a man. And I think we all know that he is certainly a great man who's going to become a very great player. And this is one of the big, massive stepping stones for him on Saturday. And I'm sure that'll add nicely into the slide you just brought up now.
Absolutely. Well, Stuart Melton saying broadband man of the match or Hiku, who broadband is. I think he probably means broadbent. He's got broadband on his mind like you, Joel. I would say, and I agree with Bazza Kingston, Andy Bibby, mate. You know, if I'm going to say KR, keep it classy, everybody should keep it classy. If Mikey Lewis is crying at 4:35 p.m. on Saturday, it's going to be for two reasons. One, he's just lifted one of the most coveted trophies in rugby league, perhaps the one that emotionally we're all the most attached to, the Challenge Cup. We've all got memories of it. So I certainly wouldn't begrudge Mikey a tear for that. And if he was on the losing side and those tears were of sorrow, I have no issue with a player being that gutted that he feels the need to be emotional on the field of play. I would have 13, 17 Warriors crying at full time over people clapping and not showing any emotion. So no matter which one it is, sorrow or sadness, Mikey, you cry, son, and it'll be for the right reasons. Greg, this is a problem. You know, you look at those stats, 2025, he's already the man of steel. He's averaging 1.35 tries a game. He's averaging 1.14 setups a game. He's breaking the line 1.6 times a game. He's doing 5 tackle busts a game. He's got his hands on the ball nearly 13 times a game, and he makes 131 metres on average. That, for a halfback, is quite simply stupid. It's unbelievable. It's hideous. It's up there with some of the greatest halfbacks to ever play the game of rugby league. Love him or hate him, this lad is a superstar.
Yeah, but Dave, apart from that, what does he do?
Oh,
mate, you know, you talk about arrogance. The great players have a swagger. It's not arrogance, it's swagger. And this kid's got it. And whether you love him or whether you love him or hate him, he's the type of player that our sport needs. He's a Sam Tompkins, he's an Andy Gregory, he's a Sean Edwards. He's that type of player. And yeah, you know, if he's lifting that trophy on Saturday afternoon, you can't begrudge it because he's a great player and he leads his team, and that's all you need. You know, he's their talisman, and if he I'm not saying that if he plays well, KR win it, because that would be disrespectful to the other 12 players on that pitch. But he's got to influence that game.
Yeah.
If he puts his stamp on that game, if he influences it, if he puts his swagger on that game, KR win that game. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, no, he's a talented lad, and he will be the Lance Todd favourite going into the game.
Yeah,
now, Greg, you were speaking a moment ago about George Williams, the gamble, and you know me, I leave nothing to chance. This is why George Williams has to play. Now we'll find out if it's too early or not in a moment. On Saturday, I think Fitzgibbon for me, that's the one. For me, the way he went down against Castleford, if Fitzgibbon's on that starting 13, I don't think he finishes the game, and I think it could be 2024 repeat. That's just my personal belief. I think that's a step too far. I think we've got to probably go somebody else in second row, maybe put Curry back in there, play Harrison at loose, maybe Yatesy at loose. I don't know. But Williams, and we'll talk about this in more details at the final whistle. This is why he has to play. In the last 2 seasons, Warrington with George Williams have won 71.4% of games. Without him, they've won 57.1%. That's a big difference. That's a massive difference. So if you're Sam Burgess and you want to lift that trophy, you have to play George Williams. You can't not. If George Williams is declaring himself fit and the doctors are saying he's fit enough to play, on that stat alone, he has to play, mate.
Yes. And hopefully he is 100% fit. And yeah, you know, he on his day, he is world class. He's gone and done it down under. He's done it for Wigan for years. Yeah, you're right, Dave. He has to play. Even if he's 95% fit, he has to play. I agree with you on those stats.
Yeah, Oliver, we hope that we bump into you. And I have to say, I don't know why the chat has descended into who's right, who's wrong, and what's banter and what's sarcasm and the rest. Concentrate on quality rugby league debate, ladies and gentlemen. What are you doing? Good debate going on. Come on. Keep focused. Dear me. Go on.
Can I address something on that, Dave, if that's okay?
Go for it.
A lot of things that have been said within the chat here tonight, he's saying don't tear us with the same brush. We're not.
Correct.
Dave's already said that. Those that are part of the Super League Raw family, we don't view as being part of that brush. Please understand that. We've got to address things and say it as it is. And we have a lot of love for KR, a lot of love. What we are saying, though, is to those who do view this title as being the arrogance and something that's beyond what it actually is. All right, it's meant to be a joke towards Hull FC. We get that. We understand that. But please don't take it we're talking about you personally. But when something comes to people like me, Dave, Reggie, Steph, and we're not KR fans, and we're seeing this and thinking, that doesn't seem quite right, we've got to address it.
Yeah.
And that's why we do. So we love you all very much, and we can't wait to be with you at the Challenge Cup final. But just understand that we will call things out when we see it that we don't see right.
And I'll tell you now, you go onto any other podcast, you go and replay the last 15 minutes. Outside of the Robin pod, nobody will praise the Robins more than we just did.
Yep.
No.
Nobody. So we know good rugby league when we see it. The terraces, that's another thing. But this rugby league side is a quality rugby league side, and we applaud it. It's a privilege to watch it. That's why George Williams has to play. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. He's an absolute shoo-in. He has to play this game. It's a fascinating game. And you know what? For the purposes of this evening, we're going to hold it. We're going to hold it there because we have got on Thursday night the Final Whistle podcast that's actually before the first whistle, where we're going to get together with those Robins fans. And we will actually show as a rugby league community how two sets of fans can come together before battle commences and debate respectfully over a final. That's what I'm really looking forward to. And I know that's going to happen. And it's going to happen with so much ease. So I'm really, really looking forward to that on Thursday night. 8 o'clock, we'll be recording it, and it will go out at 8 o'clock on Friday. So whether you're traveling to Wembley Friday or on Saturday itself, you will be able to listen to the Final Whistle podcast on your journey down to Wembley, KR and Warrington fans debating the Challenge Cup final. It's going to be absolutely superb. I'm not nervous at all. Baz is asking how nervous. I'm not nervous at all because I just thought Rugby League's going to be the winner. What will be, Bazza. What will be. On the day when the 80 minutes is on, I'll be as in it and as nervous and as jittery as anybody else. But you know what? That's the 80 minutes. Let Rugby League be the winner. I think, two great sides. If Warrington turn up, I think we're in for a great final. If Warrington do what they did last year against Wigan, they're going to get absolutely hammered. So, and that's just the way. But equally, KR, if the pressure, if the emotion gets to KR, then like we saw Catalans do to Warrington, like we saw FC do to Leeds, like we saw Sheffield do to Wigan, teams that didn't get a prayer going into a final, turn it over. I just hope it's as good a game as KR served up last time at Wembley, because that, without doubt, is probably the greatest final I will go on record in the last 20 years. It was that good. It was amazing. League KR was an amazing final. And Rugby League would be the winner if we got another final like that. Boys, what a great night. Great night.
Yes.
I've loved every minute of that. A couple of new members as well. For those who are watching, look, a lot of people watch it throughout the week. We average tens of thousands of people that watch this every single week. Yet we haven't got tens of thousands members. And look, guys, we need your support. We really do. Just ask yourself this question. Yeah. If if we said, right, every time we do a Super League Raw weekly, we're going to charge you £1 to watch it, would you pay the £1? And a lot of you'd say, yeah. So become a member and get the benefits, because we're never going to do that. We're never going to charge £1 a show. That's just not what we're going to do. We appeal to people. We know that not everybody can afford, and I get that. But $4.99, it's less than a latte a month. Come on, guys. The more members we get, the more of us can go to Challenge Cup finals. The more of us can go to Ashes series together. Great banter. Go and look at the photographs that were taken at Magic Weekend. It's a wonderful community made up of wonderful people. You'll make memories for life. You'll actually create new friends. Joel down there, Baz of Kingston, wonderful relationship. You know, we've all got to know each other through this platform. Steph, you know, we've got lots of love and respect for all of our members. Come and be a part of it. Do the QR code. I'll put it back on the screen as we go off air. Do the QR code. Become a member. If you're at Wembley, look out for Super League Raw. Be lovely to see you all. And gentlemen, I will see you, Reggie, on Thursday for the final whistle. Joel,
certainly will, sir.
I will see you and your old man on Saturday for the Challenge Cup final. Looking forward to your company, buddy.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we will be back for the final whistle post the final as well. Lots still coming down the track at Super League Raw. Thanks for your company. First Tuesday nights just wouldn't be the same without Super League Raw. Wouldn't be the same without weekly, because gentlemen, you just can't beat a bit of weekly. We will see you next week. Bye for now. Here are your top performers after 13 rounds of the Betfred Super League. The top try scorer is still Jay Field of the Wigan Warriors. He's got 50. Whilst the most try assists is still Lachlan Lamb of the Lee Leopards on 19. The most meters made in Super League 2025 is Liam Marshall of the Wigan Warriors, 2,107. Whilst the most clean breaks have come from Magic Mikey with 18 for KR. The top tackler continues to be Oliver Parkinson of the Catalan Dragons, 570. Whilst the most tackle busts have come from Junior Insember of the Wigan Warriors with 81. The most hard meters made down the middle is still Alex Walmsley, 1,685. Whilst the most offloads have come from Tabita Pangai Jr. of the Catalan Dragons with 28. And finally, the most goals have come from Adam Kieran of the Wigan Warriors with 47. These are your top performers after 13 rounds.